Hi everyone, welcome to season 2021. We've got a big year ahead. Hopefully everything can get sorted this year and we can get back on the track. Today I've got Liam on the show. We're going to be analysing the first race of season 2021, Mount Gambier. Liam, thanks for jumping on. Give us a little bit of an insight into your background for those in Pedal Pre that don't know who you are.
Well, thanks for having me. So my name's Liam and I began at basically Bendigo Senior Secondary racing in Year 11 and Year 12. And from there, we moved on to Redline Racing and also raced with Relentless Racing. And that's where I sort of stayed. And I sort of jumped in a few teams on the way, but really stayed at Relentless Racing and ended up winning 2017 and 2018 Murray Bridge. So that's basically my history. Everyone will know me from the crash I had at Murray Bridge in 2016 in the green bike, I think it was.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get some quick footage of that, Darcy.
Oh, will we? Okay. And then now I've jumped into a new team for Aurora Racing. So that'll be the big one I'll be heading into. So
yeah, nice. That sounds... Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. Or let's just hope that things continue the way they are, and I'm super pumped to get back out there. But today we're going to be talking about the Mount Gambier track, and we're just going to be covering a few little tips and little pieces of advice that for those that might have raced it or might not, but things that they might be able to improve on. We haven't been in a tri kind of racetrack for quite a long time. So you've obviously raced at Mount Gambier, Liam, yeah?
Yeah, I think I've only done it once or twice. So pretty new to it, but they're all the same.
Yeah. All right. So basically, for anyone watching, Liam is a really exceptionally gifted and strong rider. I've raced a lot with Liam, but let's talk a little bit about the track. Coming into that track, do you do anything specific in your training, or do you think it might be worth it for people that might not be as strong in a track to kind of analyse the track a little bit? What do you think?
So that track is quite, for myself, it's quite you got to be always on the power, and there is a little hill in it that turns into a big hill. And so it's really the riders that have the biggest engines. Okay. If you're real short, love going around corners and taking it easy, you really got to be on the power the whole time. So even for me, it's quite difficult when you get over that 45 and past that hour mark.
Yeah, gotcha. So do you think like taking it a little bit conservative at the start and just winding it out and just taking your time, or how do you normally approach it?
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have the biggest engine, take your time at the beginning and then ramp up and make sure to do those hour stints that everyone needs you to do in your race team. So, really take it easy and then, make sure you cover that distance. But if you are in the top ends, basically you need to work out where you can save the most energy and not waste time and be able to keep up with the contenders of who's winning the race.
Okay, so let's have a look at the track, for example. So as we come over the start-finish line, we come past the pits on our left. Now, that's as the race was in previous years. I think there might be a little rumour going that it might be moving pit location. Don't know this, but first corner, give us a little bit of a run through from the first corner through the rest of the track, just how you might take some of the corners or handle some of the straights or the hill. Let's just hear your thoughts there.
Well, if you should be carrying a fair bit of speed off from that last corner going over the start finish line because it's coming from a downhill. But it is sort of a tight corner. You might wash off some speed because of traffic. But we go down that straight and we take a sort of a sharp left-hander. If you take a good line, like go from the outside to the inside and you come back to the outside, if no one's in your way, you should still be carrying a fair bit of speed. I think a lot of the people will be doing like 50 Ks or more down that straight. And then you keep going around those pits. And you still be carrying a fair bit of speed. You will have to wind up a bit more. And then you take that sharp corner that most of the time you wash off a lot of speed. And there's usually some sort of bikes there that are really wiping your speed off. And really from that corner, you sort of got, I think it's a bit up and down, and there's like a little bit of hill there.
It's a bit of a rough track as you come around that, say, first corner on the track, and then as you hit that next corner, that's where you turn and start a bit of a hill. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the second corner where you'll have to really get into it and start putting the power. If you can put down the power early and get up to sort of your top speed that you can get to, you need to sort of like carry that for the rest of the track. There is a slight corner, but it's like you're not going to wash off any speed. The only thing that's going to catch you out if these trucks are in the wrong spot where you usually like to go. But you usually want to try to take the fastest part of the track, and inside, if that's the inside, you'd go for it if you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that it's a track that you can't really hide. Like if you're not fit or you're not feeling it, it's not one that you can kind of, lighten some load and take a bit of pressure here and there. But it's really once you hit that hill, you've just got to be on the hammer and get up and over and then up to speed. And it's really just a drag, isn't it, until that last corner again, and then you've got a little rest there, and then you're back on the hammer, aren't you? So if so if you're like deep into a stint, like how do you go mentally? Like, how long do you normally ride there for your stint time on the track?
Well, we all like to cover the 60-minute mark. I know in our the previous times I've raced, we like to do the 90-minute mark, but the beginning of the season, no one's fit, no one's prepared properly, so it's a big shock to the system. So if you can get over that 60-minute mark, is quite ideal. Yeah, so you need to be able to do over 60-minute stint is the main thing you need to do, even if that's taking it easy and then picking it up or going hard that whole time. But that 60-minute mark is where you want to go.
So do you think that you're late, late in your stint, you're reaching the 60-minute mark? Are there ways that, you might change the style of riding, or is it just still the same, pedal to the metal, hammer on, focus on your corners? Because for me, it's all about really focusing on hitting each corner the best you can and not wiping off any speed. And I normally find for myself that the longer I ride the track, the better I'm able to hit those corners. Do you find that's the same for you?
I like to sort of go hard on the hills and get the hill section over and done quick as possible, because that's where you get that done and you get to the downhill parts or where the corners are, where you can sort of stop, pedal and cruise. That's where I save a lot of my energy. And then as soon as I get to the hill, I know, all right, let's go. Let's just get this over and done with. And then so we got more time to rest on the downhill and the corners. You want to go through the corners and try not to wash any speed off. That's what we all hope. But not all the time you get that luck. Yeah. So you're really on the power. But yeah, you just want to get through and just try to get up and over that hill. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, spot on. Now, typically for April race, I think that's when it's normally run. I don't know exactly, but it's typically not a really hot day, is it? It's one race that was wet and one race that's cooler. I don't think it's necessarily a hot day being in April in South Australia. So that's normally not a bad thing, is it?
Yeah, I think it's cool usually over at Mount Gambier. So that's quite ideal for all trike riders. I don't think any of us do well in the heats. Yeah. It's usually the opposites.
Yeah, no, that's right. And then obviously the last thing we probably should mention for people who haven't been there, especially pit crew managers and such, tyre wear on the track. Let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, tyre wear is always a big issue in racing. Some bikes wear out a lot more tyres than others that we found throughout racing those couple of years. I think previous years we were replacing tyres every second rider. So depending on how hard that person's going and how they take their corners, they'll shred rubber on that racetrack.
Yeah, and there's definitely some strategic plays you might be able to put in place. But it's going to be interesting where the pits are, because obviously where it's been in previous years, it's quite a long time that you have to spend in pits. So it'll be interesting whether they make pits longer or different sections. In my dream case, it'd be getting the pits out and then back on the track straight away. But sometimes you get held up a little bit there. Anything else that you thought might be worth mentioning about the track or anything in particular? Like, how are you feeling about, you're obviously going to race, so how are you feeling about being there and racing in a trike again? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. My last time racing was, I think probably everyone will be in the same boat, was at Murray Bridge in 2019. So I've only ever been back in the trike twice now. And I've only really started my season again a few weeks ago. So I'm on the,
I can see the helmet there behind you.
The helmet's there, but doesn't mean it gets much use. So, but usually just, I think every season I ever start off, I've only ever had a couple of weeks. And usually if we go to Wonthaggi or even Mount Gambier, I've only really had 3 or 4 weeks of training. So it's really like to fluke the start of the season and hope for the best and hopefully get the bug. But I think everyone will be keen to get back, and there's going to be a fair bit of competition now. Because if people haven't trained as what they have been in the past, other teams that haven't been up there might be up there now because they've put in the hard yards through this whole COVID break. So hopefully we got a lot more competition going throughout the year. So I'm pretty keen to have more people up the top.
Expectations on race day from people, I think everyone's got to just lower it a little bit. For me personally, spending a lot of time in a trike isn't required, but I normally like to get that race in a trike, and then I generally bounce back from that. But being such a big break, I don't expect anything special on race day on that first race. But we'll see how competition goes and see what happens. Obviously, the calendar this year is all single day racing, so it's going to be a little bit of a more aggressive race, in my opinion. There's nothing really to risk going out hot. But yeah, I can't wait to get back out there, and we'll see what comes from the race and how things unfold. Hopefully everything continues well and we get there. I think the biggest thing for me, I just want to, see everyone and just get to be at a race again and see how I go on the bike. But thanks for coming on, Liam. Thanks for chatting about the track and how you might prep for it. I wish you all the best for the season, and we will see you out there. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. We'll see you out there as well.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Liam, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, mate.